Bienvenidos, bienvenue, benvenuto und willkommen. Wait, don't go away. I promise. The rest of this video will be in English. Oh, almost all of it, anyway. But before talking more practically about the topic I have planned, I want to explore how languages that come from similar geographical areas often approach the same concept in similar ways. If you're in a time crunch and you need to get right to the lesson, jump ahead to this timestamp. But if you get a chance, come back and check out the thinky stuff. It's pretty nifty. If you've studied a foreign language, you're likely familiar with the concept of conjugating verbs. We do it in English too, but we rarely talk about it because it's something that we learn when we're really, really little, before we get to school. Conjugating verbs means putting them in the form that matches the subject that they're paired with. I discussed this in more detail in the first half of the agreement video, linked down in the description, which is about subject-verb agreement. The word conjugate came to English from the Latin word conjugatus, which means being yoked together. So you can kind of see that it's about a subject and a verb being matched up and joined together. An infinitive, however, is the unconjugated form of a verb. The word infinitive also came to us from Latin, from the word infinitivus, meaning unlimited or indefinite. And so an infinitive is a verb that has not been limited by being yoked or matched up with a subject. It's the verb form that's kind of considered the pure sense of the verb. Many of the foreign languages we study in high school use endings on verbs to show different conjugations. For example, hablar, for to speak, in Spanish. Essayer, from French, for to try. Mangiare, to eat, in Italian. Lernen, German, for to learn. French, Spanish, and Italian are all very closely connected to Latin, and we can see evidence of this in the way they conjugate their verbs, as well as the way sentences are structured. German is also related to Latin, but it branched away much earlier in the, family tree of languages. So while there are similarities between Latin languages and German, there aren't as many as they have between each other. English is a particularly interesting and often confusing case because it has Germanic roots, but thanks to the conquest of England by William of Normandy, also known for obvious reasons as William the Conqueror, there was a strong influence of French as it continued to develop over the subsequent centuries. And somewhere either around that point or along the way, English decided to do something funky. Instead of using a suffix like re, er, or en, people started using the preposition to as a way of showing the relationship between another word and an infinitive. Consider these examples. Je dois aller. This can be translated from French into English as I need to go, or if you're Commander Shepard, I should go.
I should go. I should go. I should go. I should go. I should go.
The thing is, both of those sentences basically convey the same meaning, along with versions like I must go and I have to go. So how come some of them take an infinitive construction with to go, while the others become a verb phrase? The similarity I notice between the two that do take infinitives is that those verbs can take an object. You can need something. You can have something. I need the paper. I have a pen. But it doesn't make sense if you try the same thing with should or must. I must pen? I should coffee mug? So, verbs that can take a direct object use the same construction, with the infinitive phrase used instead of the noun or pronoun. I need the paper. I need to go. I have a pen. I have to rest. And this is where we really start learning about what infinitive verbs do and how we use them in English. As we saw with the examples I just showed, they can be used as though they're nouns, for example, as though they're direct objects. I need the paper. I need to go. I have a pen. I have to rest. I like pie. I like to eat. Complicating this construction somewhat, an infinitive can also take an object of its own. An infinitive and all the objects that go with it make an infinitive phrase. We can rephrase the previous examples to illustrate this. I like pie. I like to eat. I like to eat pie. This is why infinitives are in a class of verbs known as verbals. They aren't used as verbs, but as though they are other parts of speech. In the previous examples, they were used as though they were nouns or pronouns. And additionally, just like nouns and pronouns, infinitives can also be used as subjects. Here's what's probably the most famous example in the entire English language.
to be or not to be? That is the question.
Or, as Robin Williams says at the end of the movie Hook,
to live will be an awfully big adventure.
This also illustrates the challenge of using an infinitive as a subject. It just sounds off most of the time. Fortunately, Shakespeare, really good at what he does. Robin Williams, also really good at what he does. However, infinitive phrases are much more often used as direct objects. Additionally, infinitives and infinitive phrases can also be used as other parts of speech, specifically adjectives and adverbs. I always have a book to read. That is an enormous pile of clothes to wash. The easiest method to improve your grades is by completing all your work. Here, the infinitive phrases to read, to wash, and to improve your grades are used as adjectives. They modify the nouns book, clothes, and weigh. Which book do you mean? The one I'm going to read. Which clothes? The ones we need to wash. Which method am I talking about? The one that gets your grades up. Infinitives can also be used as adverbs, which modify verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Here are some examples. It is dangerous to drive while texting. To drive modifies the adjective dangerous. My parents will be delighted to meet you. To meet modifies the adjective delighted. We hope to improve our fitness. To improve modifies the verb hope. The student planned to leave detention quietly. To leave modifies the verb planned. One last caveat. While every infinitive does start with the word to, that doesn't mean that every time you see that word in a sentence, it'll be in an infinitive phrase. To is also one of the most common prepositions. You can check my video on prepositions, which should be linked down in the description to learn more about them. Overall, same thing that makes infinitives tricky, the fact that they can be used as different parts of speech, also makes them helpful in understanding grammar. In order to identify what part of speech they're being used as, you have to identify what their function is in the sentence. Developing that skill will help you do the same sort of thing with other words and phrases, which will help you gain a stronger, more useful understanding of grammar as a whole. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I'm getting toward the end of the lessons I planned, so if there's some concept in grammar specifically that you really want to learn more about that I haven't already addressed, or that you'd like me to explain in a different way, you know what to do. Let me know about it down in a comment. Bye for now, everybody.